First off, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here in honor of Staff Sergeant High. But first and foremost, and most importantly, I'd like to thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. It's an extreme honor. This is the first time I've done something like this, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank your family, Amber, Colin, Quinn. Thank you for being here. And for everybody in the audience, I'd like to let everybody know that his first son, John, is currently in Narita on his way to Navy boot camp right now, continuing the legacy that Alex has set forth for us. So if you'd bear with me for a moment here as I get into the history of Staff Sergeant High and then kind of the personal relationship that him and I have. And I'll try not to get emotional here because he is an extremely important man in my life. And I wouldn't be the officer that I am right now if it weren't for him. So the journey and the start of his story starts in Birdsboro, PA. A northeastern guy just like myself, but he likes the Eagles, unfortunately. 1986, June 15th, recently just celebrated a birthday. Spent the first half of his childhood down there, and then when he was 12 in 1998, moved down to Clearwater, Florida, which is important because that's where he met Amber. He met Amber in high school. His senior year, he was in a junior math class with his brother, and his brother introduced him to Amber. They ended up just being friends, but we'll get into that later on as we get later into the story. So Alex was an accomplished wrestler in Florida, and we'll touch on wrestling here a lot. There's a couple wrestlers in the audience here and another coach, and that's extremely important to him because it's part of the reason why he became a Marine. In addition to his JROTC service, he craved the team mindset and wanted to be a team player, and he saw nothing better than the Marine Corps. Additionally, he had a family affair of Marines in prior service, two grandfathers that served in World War II, and one great-grandfather that was in the cavalry prior to that in World War I. A couple of smattering of uncles in the Air Force, but we won't talk about them. And then finally enlisted in July of 2005, did the whole rigmarole of MCT, then to the MP schoolhouse, and shortly thereafter he shipped out to a really interesting mission, HMX-1, and supported the mission over there for the presidential staff. Really all I can talk about that is specifically when he was on leave after attending a course over at Fort Leonard Wood, he stopped by to go talk to, as he said, the woman he was calling all the time while on leave. That's Amber. And they started dating. And later that year, in 2007, not at the Marine Corps Ball, but before the Marine Corps Ball, assuming a pregame or something like that, he asked Amber to marry him. And then they were married later that next year on Cinco de Mayo. They like holidays, I guess. So and pre-gaming. From HMX, Alex, he moved over to 1st MP Company, 1st Marine Division, and for all the MPs in the room right now, the MP Companies was a very electric time for the community and something that we hold in high regard. He spent his first deployment in support of enduring freedom. He deployed to Ramadi, Iraq, and immediately came back from that, started to work up, and then deployed to Afghanistan and Gulistan with 3-4. Coming back battle-tested and battle-hardened, he immediately deployed after that to Cairo, Egypt, in support of civil unrest in relation to the Arab Spring, to support the embassy down there. And I find this personally hilarious, but after 3 deployments and Amber also serving in the Navy for 2 years with John, the Marine Corps decided to send him to a demanding tour of recruiting afterwards. In my personal home state of New Jersey, and after some time there, he picked up Staff Sergeant at MEPS, and then he went on to Buford, which is where Colin joins the story here. Colin was born, Quinn was born. Quinn was born, and that was the first birth that he had to attend, in his own words. From there, he finished up his time with the Provost Marshal's office over there, his first PMO, and then shipped out over to 3rd LE in 2018, which is where he starts his journey here in Okinawa. Served as the company gunner sergeant for Alpha Company and was a platoon sergeant there. Deployed a few times out here in the Indo-Pacific AOR, and then when 3rd Law Enforcement Battalion was divested, he moved over to PMO here with Mickey back, Camp Butler in 2021, which is where our journey starts, which is extremely important to me because I was the Camp Foster OIC here, and for anybody here that has been to Camp Foster, PMO, you know how much of a shit show that is. He actually was a watch commander, and my initial impression of Staff Sergeant High was as a second lieutenant, or I might have been a first lieutenant at the time, was this guy's a little scary. He's very stoic and didn't say much, and then had a little bit of a temper in a good way. And he rolled up to be my staff NCOIC, and we shared an office in there, and I really got to know him. We bonded over wrestling, specifically talking about the NCAAs and coming out of COVID, how it was going crazy, and he wanted to coach over at Kubasaki High School, but he couldn't because the season ended. And we clicked, and I knew that this guy meant business. Immediately, things started happening, and I had somebody who I could trust as a junior officer, and that meant a lot to me. He left and went to Camp Courtney, and then because of manpower shortages and things like that, I took over as the Camp Courtney OIC in addition to the Foster OIC, and we got to work together again. And 4 days into being the Camp Courtney OIC, we unfortunately lost a Marine, Lance Corporal Andino, if some of you might know. And I'll never forget the phone call that Alex made to me that morning. It was scary. But for some reason I felt safe because it was him calling me, and we bonded extensively over that. And he finally asked me to be a wrestling coach with him, and I've wrestled my whole life, and I decided to wrestle with him, and we spent days building a team together. Coach Robert, First Sergeant Linksweiler over here. The three of us did 2 years together, and we ended up coming back with a Far East championship. So I got to serve with him as a platoon commander and as a wrestling coach, and we spent an inordinate amount of time together, arguing over things, agreeing on things, talking Star Wars and sci-fi movies. Alex, it's been truly a wonderful experience, and you know I know I glossed over your history, but the man that you are today and the Marine that you are is extremely important to me, and everybody in this room can agree collectively that your impact on PMO and the community and the Marine Corps has been profound. I thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I am the man, the Marine, and the officer that I am today because of you, and thank you. I know that this inconspicuous thing right here is kind of just glaring, but if I could call you up here to hand off this gift to you, Gunny Dewar, if you could please assist me with unveiling this like it's a game show. I'll just pull it off. It's a long blanket. Here we go. Kenny, I think it's fitting that you read it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah. You're also on that side.
Yeah. Staff Sergeant Alexander T. High, 06 July 2004 to 31 July 2024. As you venture into a new chapter, know that your leadership, dedication, and knowledge not only improved the Marines of Marine Corps Base Camp Butler PMO, but all the Marines with whom you have served over the last 20 years. It is leaders like you who leave a lasting impression that continues the legacy of our Corps. Good luck in your new endeavor as a teacher. We know you will help mold the youth of the future to be better as you have us.
Thank you.